At first glance, this looks ridiculous. A human walking with two robotic legs attached behind them, moving like some kind of machine centaur. It looks fake, impractical, almost like a sci-fi joke. But that is exactly why this is interesting, because the more you look at it, the less stupid it starts to seem. And once you realize what this thing is actually trying to solve, it stops looking like a gimmick and starts looking like an early preview of something much bigger. Because this is not just another flashy robot clip from China. It is not a humanoid trying to replace a worker. It is not AI in a cute new body. This points in a completely different direction. A direction that may actually be more practical than a lot of the humanoid robot hype people have been obsessing over lately. Because this machine is not trying to replace the human, it is trying to upgrade the human. And once you see it that way, this stops being a weird robot story and starts looking like the beginning of a new category. So what exactly are we looking at? At its core, this is a centaur-style wearable robotic system, a machine designed to work with a person, not instead of them. That distinction matters a lot, because most of the robotics world right now is chasing one big dream. Build a machine that can fully act like a human, walk like us, balance like us, work like us, replace us. This does the opposite. Instead of asking, how do we build a robot that can do what a human does? It asks a much stranger question. How do we keep the human and make the human body more capable? That is a very different idea, and honestly, in a lot of real-world situations, it may be the smarter one. Think about the problem this thing is actually trying to solve. Humans are extremely adaptable. We can react instantly, improvise, read terrain, and make judgment calls on the fly. Machines still struggle with all of that. But physically, we have limits. We get tired. We burn energy. We slow down. We strain under heavy load. And in harsh conditions, the body becomes the bottleneck. That is the logic behind a machine like this. Not to make a person look futuristic, to make fatigue less punishing, to make carrying loads less brutal, to make movement under stress more sustainable. And suddenly, what looked silly a minute ago starts looking weirdly logical. But here is where the story gets more interesting. The wildest thing about this robot is not that it gives a human 2 extra legs. The wildest thing is that this approach may actually make more sense than a fully independent humanoid robot in certain situations. That sounds backwards, but stay with me. A humanoid robot has to do everything. It has to perceive the world, balance itself, recognize obstacles, choose where to step, adapt in real time, and handle uncertainty. That is an absurdly difficult engineering problem. A centaur-style support system skips a huge part of that challenge, because the human is still doing the hardest part. The human is still seeing, still thinking, still adapting, still making the judgment calls. The machine only has to help with support, stability, force distribution, or endurance. So in a weird way, something that looks less futuristic may actually become useful faster. That is the first real twist in this story. This may not be a cheap version of a humanoid robot. This may be solving a different problem and solving it more directly. And that opens the door to a much bigger idea. Maybe the future of robotics is not just about robots replacing people. Maybe a huge part of that future is going to be about humans wearing machines, teaming with machines, and becoming mechanically amplified. Not replacement, augmentation. Not a robot worker, an upgraded worker. And once you look at it that way, this thing becomes a lot more than a strange viral clip. Now it starts pointing toward a real category. Imagine where this goes if it gets lighter, smarter, safer, cheaper, and more fluid. Suddenly you can picture real use cases. A rescue worker carrying equipment deeper into dangerous terrain. A logistics worker handling long shifts with less strain. A transport team moving supplies across rough ground. An industrial worker getting extra load support. A disaster response team operating longer in hostile conditions. And yes, military applications become obvious almost immediately, which is exactly where this goes from fascinating to a little uncomfortable. Because the first version of a future technology almost always looks awkward. It looks oversized. It looks clumsy. It looks a little ridiculous. That does not mean it is unimportant. Sometimes that is exactly what the beginning looks like. And that is why I think a lot of people are misreading this. They are seeing the shape, but not the direction. They are seeing a weird machine, but not the category it points toward. Because the real story may not be this exact machine. The real story may be the future class of machines it belongs to. And once you think about it that way, the stakes get much bigger. Now add the China angle. This is not happening in a vacuum. China is not only pushing AI and software, it is also pushing robotics, embodied AI, and physical systems aggressively. That matters because it changes how you interpret a machine like this. This is not just one random team building one random weird project. It fits a much wider pattern. While a lot of AI attention in the West is still dominated by chatbots, co-pilots, and software agents, China is also racing hard in physical AI. Machines that move, machines that assist, machines that carry, machines that operate in the real world. And if a country is serious about physical AI, it does not only need humanoids. It needs industrial robots, exoskeletons, assistance systems, and hybrid human-machine platforms. It needs every possible path that can turn intelligence into physical capability. That is why this matters more than it first appears. But the deeper reason this matters is even bigger than China, because this machine points to a future that a lot of people still are not ready for. Most people still imagine the future of robotics in a very simple way. Either robots replace humans, or they do not. Either the machine is autonomous, or it is not. Either the robot becomes the worker, or the human stays the worker. But reality may end up being much messier than that. The transition may not happen in one clean jump from human labor to robot labor. It may happen in stages. First, tools become smarter. Then machines become more supportive. Then the line between tool and body starts to blur. And that middle stage may be where the biggest real-world adoption happens first. Because full autonomy is hard. Very hard. It is expensive, unstable, difficult to deploy, and often much slower to become useful than people expect. Hybrid systems are different. They do not need to solve every problem. They do not need to replace human judgment. They do not need to master the world from scratch. They can borrow the best part of the human and combine it with the best part of the machine. Human perception, human decision-making, machine endurance, machine support, machine force. That combination is powerful, and more importantly, it is practical. That is what makes this whole story more dangerous and more believable than it first appears. Because a lot of futuristic technology fails, not because it is impossible, but because it arrives in the wrong form. Too expensive, too fragile, too complicated, too detached from real use. This is the opposite. This is ugly enough to be early, but practical enough to feel real. And that combination matters. Because once a technology feels even a little bit useful, people start imagining versions of it everywhere. That is when categories begin. And once a category begins, improvement comes fast. Smaller, lighter, cheaper, safer, better batteries, better balance, smarter adaptation, better integration with sensors and AI. And then one day the thing that looked ridiculous in version 1 suddenly starts to look inevitable in version 5. That is how this story could evolve. Not as a single viral robot clip, but as an early hint of a larger transition from pure automation to augmentation. And that is the point where this becomes more than just a cool topic for a YouTube video. Because every augmentation technology has two futures. One is empowerment, the other is pressure. That is true for almost every productivity tool humans have ever built. At first, it is framed as assistance. Help the worker, protect the worker, reduce strain, increase safety, and all of that may be true. A machine like this could absolutely help people. It could reduce fatigue, extend mobility, support rescue work, improve carrying under difficult conditions, and potentially make some jobs safer and more sustainable. That is the optimistic future. A firefighter moving farther into danger with less exhaustion. A rescue team carrying more equipment over unstable ground. A worker protecting their body from years of heavy strain. A support system that does not replace the person, but preserves the person. That is the best case version. But there is another one. The moment a machine can help the human body do more, somebody will eventually ask whether that human should now be expected to do more. Work longer, carry more, move faster, operate in harsher environments, handle more stress because now the worker is enhanced. That is where the emotional center of this story changes. Because now the question is no longer just, can this help people? Now the question becomes, who decides how that help gets used? Does the machine reduce burden? Or does it raise expectation? Does it protect the body? Or does it turn the body into a more optimized production unit? That is not a technical question anymore. That is a social question, an economic question. In some cases, maybe even a military question. And that is where this stops being just a robot story. Now it becomes a human story. Because once machines stop being tools in our hands and start becoming extensions attached to our bodies, the relationship changes. This is not just automation, this is modification. And that may be the deepest idea in this entire story. For the last few years, most of the AI revolution has been cognitive. Software that writes, summarizes, generates, searches, and helps us think faster. But this points toward the next phase. First, software informed us. Then AI assisted us. Now machines may begin physically amplifying us. That is a very different kind of revolution. Because replacing a task is one thing. Attaching a machine to a human body and changing what that body can physically do is something else entirely. That feels more immediate, more personal, much harder to ignore. That is why this image hits so hard. It is not just a cool robot. It is a human form being extended, a human body being mechanically restructured for function. And that lands deeper than another robot arm in a factory ever could. Now imagine where this leads if the category matures. Maybe this exact design never goes mainstream. Maybe it stays experimental. Maybe it gets redesigned completely. Maybe 10 years from now it looks nothing like this. That does not kill the idea, because important technologies often begin in ugly, early, imperfect form. The first versions look strange. The later versions look inevitable. That is the pattern. So the real question is not whether this exact robot becomes a hit. The real question is whether this is an early signal of a future where the line between worker and machine gets much blurrier than people expect. Not humans versus robots. Humans with robots. Not full replacement, mechanical partnership. Not the end of labor, the redesign of labor. And that future may arrive sooner than the fully autonomous robot future people keep imagining. Because industries, governments, and militaries do not always wait for perfect autonomous systems. Sometimes they move faster with hybrid systems. Human judgment, machine support, combined advantage, and that logic is powerful. In fact, that may be the biggest reason this matters right now. Not because this one machine is perfect, but because it represents a shortcut to usefulness. A path around the bottleneck. A way to get real physical advantage without waiting for machines to become fully independent, fully reliable, and fully general. That is why it deserves more attention than people are giving it. Because a lot of the future will not arrive in the clean form people imagine, it will arrive in weird forms. Clunky forms, uncomfortable forms, forms that look half human and half machine. And those are often the forms people underestimate the most. So let's go back to the image we started with. A person walking with two robotic legs behind them like some kind of centaur. Yes, it looks bizarre. Yes, it is easy to laugh at. And yes, on first contact, it looks like one of those strange tech demos that exist mostly to go viral. But the deeper story is much more serious than that, because this may be one of the clearest glimpses yet of a future where robotics is not only about building machines around us, it is about building machines onto us. Today, it looks like a human turning into a centaur. Tomorrow, it may just look like the first version of a new kind of worker. And that is why this matters. Not because it is polished, not because it is mainstream, not because it is guaranteed, but because it reveals a direction. And sometimes, the earliest signs of the future are the ones that look the strangest when they first appear. So here is the real question. If this technology keeps improving, which future arrives first? Machines replacing workers? Or machines upgrading workers? Because one of those futures sounds efficient. The other sounds much harder to ignore.